So according to Microsoft, next generation Xbox console is going to deliver the largest technical leap ever seen in a console space. Let's dive into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about that next generation Xbox tech that Microsoft spoke about recently. Actually, I'm talking about the statement made by Sarah Bond during the latest Xbox podcast, where they talk about the future of Xbox and future Xbox hardware. Obviously, they did confirm that more consoles are coming in the future. Apparently, they're going to have some sort of announcements like later this year. They did say holiday this year. So I'm wondering if they will be talking about that next-gen Xbox already, or maybe they are planning some sort of Xbox console refresh in the future. I don't know, we will have to wait and see, but she did say that the next generation Xbox console is going to deliver the largest technical leap in the console space, right? And of course it is a PR talk, so I wouldn't really get too excited about that per se, because what does that really mean? I mean, the largest technical leap, it may mean everything, anything really, right? It doesn't really tell us much without more details, but there's certain things that they may actually do for this kind of PR talk to be sort of true, right? Because when it comes to power, right, for example, like the first thing that is always on our minds or most people's minds is the power. I mean, how much more powerful this console going to be. And I don't think that the next gen consoles are going to be that much more powerful, because there's been a ton of information already that the new process shrinks that offers more power, better efficiency, are not getting cheaper. They're actually getting more expensive, right? So yes, you may get way more power, but it will cost you more too. Back in the days, it was a case of, for example, a big CPU or GPU shrink for, sort of same money, which means that for the same money you get double the power or whatever, right? It's not the case anymore, right? You shrink these chips, but they cost more, right? So, that's why, yeah, sure, we will get more power because that only makes sense, right? But don't expect next-gen Xbox to be a couple of times more powerful when it comes to GPU or something. I mean, I would not even expect a power difference of the Xbox One X refresh, right? Because I'm sure you remember that the power difference between Xbox One and Xbox One X was like 4 times more power, right? I mean, it was like 1.2, 1.3 teraflops Xbox One and 6 teraflops on Xbox One X, right? And now we've got Xbox Series X, and it offers like double the pure computational power of Xbox One X, right? So don't I guess double the power is possible in my opinion, right? But obviously teraflops doesn't always translate to double the speed of running games, or double or twice as better graphics and everything, because doesn't really work like that. There's other bottlenecks obviously there too, like CPU, memory bandwidth, and that kind of stuff, right? And so I don't think that power will ever be the main focus anymore, right? And also, if you really think about what even current gen systems can deliver, I mean, graphics wise, there's nothing really to complain about, right? I don't like, sure, the graphics will get better. Ray tracing is going to be more used in the future. Path tracing, probably, later on down the road too. So that will make the games to look much better and more realistic for sure. But I just don't want them to focus too much on that. I still want that 60 frames per second to be a standard on consoles, of course. But I think that when it comes to that, I guess next gen kind of tech leap, it's probably going to come from like new technologies. So, new forms of, or better forms of upscaling, AI, machine learning, basically, right? I mean, yes, Xbox Series S and X do support machine learning on a hardware level, but not many developers actually using it right now in their games. I mean, developers are still figuring out ways to actually, use it, right? How to use it properly, how to, in a way that they will benefit, that the games will benefit, right? And, I mean, obviously the AI, machine learning, upscaling would be I guess the most simple one, let's just say, but and I'm sure they will. But I'm sure that the next gen Xbox and next gen PlayStation are going to be more focused on AI, because it revolutionizes the industry right now. Like more and more apps is using it, more and more tech is using it. So that I'm sure that because this technology is new, we will see a big leap in that, right? In how, but it must come with change of the way developers work and they use that technology, right? Because more power is actually the easiest way to kind of improve your games, because the game just runs better, looks better, and whatever, right? With these kind of tools, it's more complex, right? And we've seen that actually already with Xbox Series X, because there's number of different technologies that Xbox Series S and X are not really using still, because developers are not really taking advantage of this, right? I mean, yes, mesh shaders is being used by 2 games, like almost 4 years into the generation, right? Three and a half really. And only 2 games are using mesh shaders. And I know that PlayStation doesn't support mesh shaders per se, but they've got, their own primitive shaders, which is kind of the same-ish, different name for, some other implementation, I guess. I'm not really going to get into that at the moment, but, like 2 games only uses that, right? I mean, at least as far as we know. So that was the Ubisoft game Pandora something, anyway, and Alan Wake 2, and that's it, right? I mean, I do hope that this year more games will use it, but it's not a standard, right? Another thing, SFS, the technology that was supposed to revolutionize the memory usage on Xbox Series S and X, that was supposed to be the tech that would make Xbox Series S a proper next-gen console. Cool, but nobody uses it, right? Because it takes time to optimize games and engines for that new technology. And I guess it's going to be a similar thing with AI. But I guess with AI, it's a bit different, because AI is already used on PlayStation 5 too as well, and obviously Xbox Series X, so developers can play with it already, at least test it internally, right? Even if they don't support it in their games, at least they know how that works. So maybe with next-gen systems, that's going to be a similar situation. It reminds me a little bit of Xbox One S and X, where for example, they implemented the variable refresh rate, and people were laughing at Microsoft for delivering that, right? Because games were pretty much 30 frames per second for the most part, so why would you need that, right? But the fact that there were a couple of games using it, the ones that were closer to 60, like Wolfenstein, for example, But the fact that this technology was there when proper next-gen Xbox came, Xbox Series S and X, the FreeSync was a standard there, while PlayStation was actually playing a catch-up with Xbox when it comes to delivering that feature, which this generation actually makes a difference in many games, right? So maybe that's the thing. Same with ray tracing. A lot of developers are using it, sure, but you don't really see much of a benefit of it, right? But I think that this generation is more about like testing these new technologies, and we will see a much better implementation of these new technologies next gen. So I think that this whole largest technical leap will come with better support for machine learning, AI, better support for ray tracing, maybe some form of cloud or something, a hybrid thing with Microsoft, who knows. And I think that that's what we should realistically expect. Don't think that it will come with like it's all about power, and they don't really talk about power anymore, really. Did you notice that? Like even Xbox stopped talking about the power that much. So hopefully, I think that by the end of this generation, we will see more games using these new technologies already. But next gen is going to be much better when it comes to like ray tracing and use of machine learning, because more hardware is going to be capable, and that hardware will have better support for it, right? There's been already some speculation about NPUs being installed on these consoles, so neural processing units, but I don't think that's really going to happen per se. I mean, don't expect in these consoles, don't expect like a separate chip. If anything, it may be a part of the APU. I mean, a good example of that would be Apple with their chips, because they've got they call it neural units or something, but they've got that built into the CPU, right? And apparently it works very well, right? So that's the way it probably goes. If anything, I would just I would be just on a lookout for any AMD news, what they are implementing in their APUs and future GPUs too, because this is this is what we're going to see in these consoles, and I don't expect any revolution in hardware. Power-wise, like 2-3 times maybe on the GPU side of things. Hopefully, I actually do hope that they will focus more on the CPU side of things. I really do hope that they won't stick to 8 cores anymore. 12, ideally 16 cores CPUs with 32 threads would be ideal situation, but whether we're going to see it in the future, I don't know. But yeah, guys, that gets me really excited about the future of consoles, that's for sure. New technologies and stuff, and obviously if you want power, just go PC. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got both. I've got consoles and PC. If there's a game on a console that is running at 30 or doesn't really look that great on a console, I'll play on PC. Starfield is a good example, because that game actually not only runs much better on PC, 60 frames per second, but also looks better, much better on PC too. Like the textures are better and everything, right? So, Starfield is actually much better experience on PC, and mouse and keyboard is actually the way to play that kind of games, to be honest with you, right? So yeah, I mean, I guess you can connect a mouse and keyboard to Xbox. That's not really a big issue, but that 30 frames per second, man, it just doesn't feel right. But hey, that's just me. I know that there's a lot of people enjoying Starfield and other 30 frames per second games. I've got no problem there, right? Like I said, I just played Starfield on PC, and no problem there. So anyway, guys, I'll be on the lookout for more next-gen news as always, new tech and stuff. PlayStation 5 Pro is around the corner apparently, so we should start getting some proper leaks soon, in my opinion. But it's kind of weird that we haven't really heard much about PlayStation 5 Pro from, like, you know, more tech leaks and stuff. But anyway, so that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.